I honestly think it is true that men nowadays are uninterested in the dating game.
There's a lot of these guys that go overseas for women, right? They'll say, I'm not dating an American girl.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be...
It wasn't men who forced that decision. It was them constantly getting pushed away.
Men are leaving, and they're leaving to go abroad to find wives, and Western women are not happy about this.
The fact is, American women have just lost their values, you know? They're no longer of value.
By the year 2030, more than half of the women living in the West, the USA...
This statistic proves to be true every day. Western women have become hard to want. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
Women, you will never be fully fulfilled in trying to avoid men for the rest of your life because you are living in a state of fear. Deep down, women just want to have the love and protection and guidance from the masculine. In our innate biological nature as women, we don't want to do it all. It's exhausting. That's why men and women exist, so that we can come together in our strengths. Feminine and the masculine are the yin and yang to creating the life and the reality that we all deep down long for, because it is our birthright.
So men are leaving, and they're leaving to go abroad to find wives, and Western women are not happy about this, and they're making all these videos bashing these men, and they're saying how these men are taking advantage of these women in foreign countries. They're also insinuating that these women are less intelligent, and they don't realize that these women are also adults. They're consenting adults on their own. Some of these women actually might be more educated than some of the Western women, so it's very actually offensive to these women to just assume that this is the case. So I don't see the problem in letting these men be happy and letting these men find love. If it takes for them to find love to go to different countries and find women there, what's the problem? It's not hurting you. It's not hurting anybody. And also, you don't want these men. So are they supposed to just stay single and just wait around?
It's crazy, because the men that are leaving the West to go overseas are the same men these women claim they don't want. But if they don't want those men, then what's the issue with them going where they're actually wanted? A lot of these women claim that these men are just going over there to take advantage of foreign women. But let's be real, all of those claims are rooted in bitterness and jealousy. Because if these men are so undesirable, why do you even care where they go? The truth is, it bothers them because these men were never supposed to leave. They were supposed to stick around, stay in the friend zone, or keep chasing women who never respected them. And now that these men are choosing peace and love over games and attitude that threatens the illusion of control, the whole "they're just exploiting poor women" narrative is nothing more than projection. It's a way for bitter women to shame these men for finally doing something for themselves.
There's this online movement of guys, I don't think it's organized in any way, but they call themselves passport bros. They get their passport and they go overseas to Philippines, Thailand, maybe South America, a lot of your more, let's be honest, economically downtrodden areas. And they see a lot of very attractive, very flirtatious, over-the-top sexual women who are like, hello, Mr. 57-year-old American man who can take care of me. And they get treated like a king. And these men like live out their retirement years in these communities and just say, guys, you're missing out. I come over here but if you ask them, they would say, yeah, I know why. It's because, yes, I provide for her and I help, it doesn't cost me much. The dollar is very valuable over here. I can spend $100 and they look at me like I'm a millionaire. And I take care of her family, and I do this and I do that. But in turn, I get treated like a king. They're reversing the hands of time and going back to the old paradigm, the way it used to be.
This comment was just too good not to respond to. I honestly think it is true that men nowadays are uninterested in the dating game. And they're most likely the good ones, which then leaves us ladies having bad experiences, and then we, in hand, want to get off the dating scene. So then we're both left screwed because all the good ones are out of the dating scene and aren't interested. When is this going to change, though? Maybe we all need to come back together and make it work.
It will change when a relationship becomes beneficial instead of a risk. When women stop being the worst, good men will be interested in you again. Nope, I don't want to date again. Not worth the problems. Being single is so much easier and so much better. Nah, we got friends, hobbies, and our dog now. There's no time left for drama. I do agree that good guys backing out of the dating pool makes it harder for good women to date. That's a fact. When the solid, loyal, emotionally stable men start walking away, it leaves behind a dating scene full of players, manipulators, and emotionally unavailable guys. So, yes, I get it. But at the same time, let's not act like this is happening in a vacuum. The return on investment for good guys just isn't worth it anymore. And that's the harsh truth most people don't want to talk about. These men spend years doing the right things, being respectful, emotionally available, loyal, financially stable, and genuinely trying to build something real. And what do they get in return? Ghosted, friend-zoned, used for emotional support, or only considered after a woman has gone through her fun phase with guys who treated her like an afterthought. So yes, a lot of men are uninterested in dating.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women. That it's better to be single, guys. They're almost like happy about the fact that they're gonna make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
It is not because they're fighting a war within themselves. It is because they found peace with themselves. And she was so close. She was just so close to getting there because at least she's recognizing what men are saying. Because they're tired of the complaining, the double standards, the expectations, and the risk of losing everything that they've built. There is no unresolved internal war going on in these men. He just found peace and contentment on his own instead of using that energy and effort on someone else.
Okay, I posted a video last week about going on a first date, and the amount of comments from men basically saying they didn't even feel like it was worth it anymore to go on first dates because they're scared of feeling creepy, they're scared of essay allegations, they don't really feel like women even like them, or most women just want, 6'3" millionaires, the top 1% of men. They feel like a lot of women just use them for a free meal or dinner or experience. And that genuinely made me so sad that most men would rather just stay inside and not even deal with it because it's not worth it to them anymore. It just made me think us as women, maybe we need to take a step back and be like, okay, what's going on? Because the fact that men would rather stay in than go out on dates with us, it made me so sad.
Well, it's just the truth. Plenty of women use first dates as a way to get free meals from guys. Even if they aren't genuinely interested, it's a game to them. They'll dress up, smile, and hold a decent conversation just long enough to secure that free dinner, all while having zero intention of seeing the guy again. Some even brag about it online, calling it a foodie call instead of a booty call, literally using men for nothing more than a meal and a quick ego boost. That's why many men are now setting boundaries, coffee dates, split bills, or casual meetups first. Not because they're cheap, but because they're tired of being used. Respect is a two-way street, and if the energy isn't mutual, why should the investment be? They gain the experience at the expense of using guys. For them, it's a win-win. Some women use these encounters to practice dating or boost their self-esteem. They'll say things like, I wasn't feeling him, but at least I got a good steak out of it.
There's a lot of these guys that go overseas for women, right? They'll say, I'm not dating an American girl. I'm going to wherever. And some of that, I think a lot of that has to do with just what American women are doing now, right? And this idea of like, oh, America, is so pure and America cares about freedom. And you think of American homegrown values. You think of like apple pie and holidays, and you think of all of these things. And then you look at what's actually happening and you're like, this isn't happening in most of the country anymore. This promiscuity is being placed high value on promiscuity for women. You've got, a growing segment of deadbeat guys who are willing to pay for things like OF and aren't stepping up, in large part because you've got the masculinization of women and this feminization of men. Everything is really horrible in that respect when it comes to gender dynamics.
The fact is, American women have just lost their values, They're no longer of value, unless they're from Texas. Texas women seem to have strong core values. They tend to marry their high school crush. They tend to have children with the high school crush, and they stay together. It's very much a family sort of environment. A few hours down the road in LA, this is where traditions are lost. Like, the women are going on serial amounts of dates with anyone they can find, especially students. See, the cost of living in LA is so high, and America in general, that anything for a free lunch is sort of the extent that they'll go to now. Especially like with rental payments, if they can organise a date 5 days a week, that's 5 dinners that they don't have to pay for, But a lot of these men in America are literally going overseas to find a traditional woman. Whatever that means to you, as in like, just be loyal to the one guy. I'll be honest, in England, people are quite loyal. You don't have to go all the way to Philippines for a takeaway.
The reason why so many women go on multiple dates with multiple guys at the same time is because they were told to by single TikTok dating coaches, the same coaches who are still single themselves, bitter, and constantly recycling toxic advice that prioritizes games over genuine connection. These women are being taught to keep their options open, never settle, and date like a man, as if treating people like disposable apps on a phone screen is supposed to lead to real love. The reality is, Western women, for the most part, have become hard to want. Not because they're not attractive or intelligent, but because the attitudes and entitlement that come with modern dating culture are exhausting. A lot of men are no longer interested in competing with a woman's entire roster, jumping through hoops for her attention, or trying to prove themselves while being treated like they're replaceable.
I want to know if someone told you that you should be approaching women in public, people you don't know, in places like grocery stores, the park. Is this advice that someone gave you, or is this like something you came up with in your own? Don't. And this is why. First of all, the audacity. Are you really gonna tell me you that's why I just think it's like someone told you it's a numbers game. Just go up to this many women, and you're not really thinking logically about it. 'Cause nope, not gonna happen. 2, we're strangers. I don't know you. You don't know me. We know nothing. The only thing in this situation that's making you come up to me is that you find me attractive. I don't feel the same way. Not at all. But I'm crazy.
You need help.
So can you cook?
Yes. I can cook. I can clean.
Yeah, see, this is why I came to Thailand, to find a traditional woman. See, in the United States, all they do
Oh my God.
is complain.
A lot of the passport bros will be like, women only want you for your money. And then they go get their 90-day fiance on, and she's clearly just with you for your money.
Where if I'm working all day, sorry, I maybe don't want to come home and cook for 2 hours to feed you when you can.
Even when I'm not working all day, I don't want to be home cooking for 2 hours.
I mean?
It's men that talk like this, that act like this, who hate black women.
To be fair, he's also just comparing American women.
Well, he didn't go to Africa. He went to Thailand.
But he said American.
He could have gone to Jamaica too.
It's not like he went to a European country.
Yeah, but you're not ending up in Thailand. You're choosing Thailand.
It's not even about the woman. It's just cheaper in Thailand. You can't get no in America because the eggs is $10.
Unfortunately, we have to attach that to race.
But
to be fair, though, he was ugly. Sir, you are not fine.
No, he's not.
You just have to wonder, why do passport bros finding love overseas bother these women so much? Really, all they're doing is proving why passport bros are leaving. If you listen to these two women, They just justified this man's point on why American women just complain. And that's the irony. Instead of listening and reflecting, they double down with bitterness and mockery. They can't see that their reaction is the reason so many men have checked out. A man calmly explains why he's no longer interested in dating in the West, and instead of trying to understand or even disagree respectfully, these women resort to shaming, sarcasm, and emotional outbursts. And what's worse, the loudest critics are usually the ones who would never have given these men a chance in the first place. So why the outrage now? It's simple. When a man leaves and proves he can be loved elsewhere, it exposes the lie that he was never good enough. And that kind of truth hurts.
The type of men I really respect are the ones that just randomly send you money. The ones that want to send you money because they enjoy it. I like those ones.
God, I love it when a passport bro tells me that I'm jealous that American men are leaving the United States and not looking at American women. Because the ones that are leaving the United States to go find themselves a bride overseas are exactly the ones that we never wanted. I mean, and it's really obvious here. There's two really big things that stick out. It's like the emperor's not wearing clothes. Number one, you mean to tell me, sir, you have exhausted all of your dating options, which forces you to go overseas to seek a bride who really is only interested in your American dollars. It's really that bad. You got nothing. Because women, they have options every day. That is the case for all women. All women have options because women are always going to be desired by men. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Number two, and this one is even more obvious. You mean to tell me that you can either put your life substantially on hold to go seek your overseas bride or completely abandon and pack up the life that you have here and start it somewhere else? That tells me a lot about your job. Okay, it means that whatever it is that you're doing is not that important and thus not that high paying. Okay, because if you can just quit your job, well, you don't have income coming in. If you can just up and go, that means, you probably don't have a really great work history or work ethic anyway. You are obviously not a business owner because small business owners cannot abandon their business, sometimes not even for a week. Someone who's really dedicated and ambitious, they're not going on long vacations or they're working during they don't have time to go seeking kitty cat in another country. If it is some sort of really important position, they're not taking the time away from their number one love. A man's number one love is his money, and he makes his money from his job. He's not taking the time away from his number one love unless that thing is really not yielding much and is that unimportant.
She said that the ones that are leaving are the ones they never wanted, but yet they keep trying to shame them, mock them, and bring them down. Why is that? If these men were truly unwanted, their absence shouldn't matter, but clearly it does. The constant need to drag them through the mud shows that it does bother them. Deep down, it's not about the men being undesirable, it's about the loss of control. It's quite clear that this woman isn't being honest with herself. She made the assumption that the women overseas are only interested in the American dollar. But let's be real, if that's true, how is that any different from what's happening in the West? Western women openly say they want a man who can pay all the bills, take them on expensive trips, or fund their lifestyle. So if money is the issue, then they're just projecting, because that same mindset already exists here. The difference is, many foreign women actually appreciate what a man provides and are willing to bring something to the table in return, like peace, support, respect, and genuine femininity. They're not trying to compete with a man. emasculate him or constantly test his worth.
I was talking to one of my guy friends about what it means to him to be a provider, to provide for a woman. And he's a little older. He's in his late 30s. And of course, he wants to provide financially, but ultimately, it's not just that. And he was like, I want to make her life easier. I literally want to take away her problems, her worries, so that I can say to her, what are your dreams? What are your passions? Now I'm giving you the ability to pursue your dreams and your passions because I'm covering you financially. I'm taking away your burdens and your problems so that you can do what you want to do with your life. That is what we want.
I did this. She cheated. I won't do it again. I doubt this conversation happened.
I agree.